heavy metal, that's all that I meant. Clutch, yeah, I be breaking the rim. You stuck, cause you ain't been getting it in. It sucked, and I ain't gonna say it again.
All is truly well. If you haven't yet done so, please hit the like and subscribe button and follow along for more information. So today we're going to be getting into a process that I like to use in order to better analyze and interpret data, right? Fire neurons quicker so that you can acquire information and perceive things in a better light. The whole path of consciousness is in raising and evolving yourself through different techniques that they've used for thousands of years in order to see the world in different perceptive ways, different lights. So the first step is the process of emotions, right? Whenever anything happens, you have to understand what emotion is and how it works. Emotion is energy in motion, right? So you take this energy in motion, right? It's always connected to a certain part of your being. You always feel it somewhere. You may feel anger at the top of the head and see red in front of the eyes. You may feel a bad feeling in the gut, right? Right here in the gut. Or in the pit of your stomach, you feel a drop when things happen, right? And those are all because the energy is connected to a certain frequency, to certain waves, to certain parts of the body. And you can take this energy and you can start to move it in different ways and control it so that you can control the mind and accomplish tasks in a much more efficient way. So once you've processed an emotion, once you've felt the emotion, you then take that emotion and you analyze it through the mind. When you're in the moment of anger, you take a step back outside of the self and you see the emotion and feel where it's coming from, feel where it resonates within the body, right? And that becomes the first step in actually getting better at processing emotion, because it's not an overnight thing. You don't just wake up and you're just, you've perfected this. You become a guru at being calm and serene. And for some occasions, it may not be the occasion to be calm or serene. There's times when you need to control your anger, but use it still effectively and efficiently. There's times when you're supposed to be sad and grieve. There's times of mourning, waking, and all things. And times of joy and sadness and happiness and sorrow. It all comes in seasons. But learning to first interpret the emotion you're feeling so that you can better work with it is the first step. Now, once we're there, we're going to go through the second step. The second step is to guide the emotion through reasonable active thought. Reasonable active thought meaning that you're not always going to have times in life to decide what you feel about an emotion in a split second when something is going on, right? But through practicing reasonable active thought, through practicing thinking things through rationally and being logical, your actual subconscious mind starts to be able to work on its own in faster split increments. It feels the energy in motion. It moves the energy in motion in the right direction without you having to consciously always direct it, because you've practiced reasonably thinking through the emotion. So every time something happens that disturbs you, you want to take a sit back for a little while, right? You want to breathe through it. You want to think about, even if it's an hour later, 2 hours later, after it happened, you want to take the time to sit back though and analyze why you felt that way and what made you feel this way about that, right? And then you move on to the third step. All right, so the third step is one of the hardest parts for people, and it's what I call staying in it, right? So you stay in a process until you've processed it all the way, right? You don't want to jump forward ahead of yourself and move on anything. So when you're going through life and you're looking at writing a paper, or you're looking at sending an email, you're looking at putting or building something together, or drawing something, or using any art form, or all these different array of things that you could be doing, right? A lot of times people don't see things through to completion, and they don't see things through because they never saw all the steps in their mind on the journey. They never saw the end result in their mind. So they couldn't get there because your mind must put the frequency out in order to build it. You get this snowball effect rolling. You have all these things in this vortex. You have all these things you want to manifest, but then you switch direction left and right. And so the snowball effect starts rolling in all these different directions, never going straight down the hill to hit the destination point, right? That's a problem. You have to stay in the thought process and process this new energy in motion to see exactly what you want it to look like, right? Do you want to rise up out of this anger, or do you want to sit in it until you do something that you may regret, right? Do you want to find peace in this moment or find serenity? You want to rethink the thoughts and the way you're thinking about things? Do you want to take a moment to actually just sit back calm and ruminate, but then be able to make a smart decision as to how to fix this, right? If the rent's due and you're short and you have 3-4 days to get it done, being upset about it will never get the rent paid. You have to sit down and think through the process, think through the options, weigh the results, do all these different things until you can come to a conclusion of something that you can actively move on, right? Which brings us to the next step. So the next step is to act on the energy and motion through strategically planned steps. Let's say you want to shoot a film, right? And there's a lot of components that go into it. You need actors, you need directors, you need script, you got to have cameras, you got to have lighting, you got to have all these different things. You may need somebody to edit it, to produce it, voice actors. It's, there's so many different components. And if you look at it like one large production, you never get it done because it's always too big for you. The mountain, the hill is too tall for you to climb. But I always like to say small thing to a giant, right? So what you do then is you break it into smaller steps. Okay, so you look at the first thing. What's the first step I can take on this journey? Let's write the script. Okay, that might look too big to you. So let's just write one character first. What do we want one character in the script to be like, right? What do you want somebody who interacts with him to be like? Okay, now, who do you think could shoot this? Maybe you could shoot it yourself. What kind of cameras do you need? How much money do you need for the cameras? You need to sit down and strategically think of each step, writing down each part of the process until you have an entire picture of how you do the first part. Then you move and act on it. You get it done, okay? Now, if you've made it this far, there's a final step, right? And it's the most important. And I call it improving the result through the repetitive change in active emotion, right? The repetitive change of act and emotion, meaning you take that emotion that caused you to create this thing that you're putting together, this thought process, this thing that you're bringing to life, right? And you take that emotion and now you amplify it. You get excited about it. You feel ready to receive the fruits of your labor, right? You breathe. You enjoy the moments. You think about the act of accomplishing. You see the end of the goal. And then you accept the fact that it is coming. And you make your mind up to get the task done, right? A prayer is nothing without faith, right? But a prayer as an act of will too. In order to actually bring things into your vortex, to bring things into manifestation, you need not only pray and asking, you need to pray by telling what you want. You need to call it to you, right? You have to be a magnifying force. You have to magnify things, amplify things, and then magnetize things back to you and bring them back, right? And that's how you can start to acquire. You become a vortex. You become a black hole of energy that is bringing the galaxy into it, being reborn, right? That's the mindset you have to create when you want to create and when you want to accumulate. If you always think about being a star, right, being a superstar, projection is only one half of the equation, as above, so below. You also have to bring things into existence also, not just project things out into existence, right? And so thinking about these things and these orders and these steps will start to help you think mentally differently about how you can get where you're going, right? And through those steps, you'll start to be able to manifest the life that you're looking forward to, the money that you want, the relationships you want, the prestige, the different things that you like to acquire. All right, so go ahead and try these 5 steps out. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about them. If you think that there's certain aspects that can be improved upon it, you know what I'm saying? We're all moving forward together on this journey. This is Relic's Tomb. I'm Relic. All is truly well.